Welcome to an exploration of the Enneagram, and I'm really pleased to be doing this with St. Andrew's College in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. My name is Roland Legge, and I have a love for the Enneagram. It has changed my life so much. So in today's first video, it's going to be a very short introduction into what the Enneagram is all about. But first, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about myself. I'm very excited to be working with you. I'm thankful to St. Andrew's College for inviting me to be part of their lifelong learning pathway. And I'm looking forward to hopefully meeting some of you, whether that be in person or online or on the phone, and to engage with you about something that I think is really, really helpful for all of us to be able to go deep within ourselves to find out the truth within us. So I really believe we all have the answers to life's issues if we go within. And that helps us to know what to pay attention from what comes from others outside of us. The Enneagram is a powerful tool for today. I'm not saying it's for everybody, but I invite you to just check it out through these videos and see if it's something that excites you and something that's going to help you to go deeper into just accepting who you are, to be able to love yourself as you are, to do what you really feel you're meant to do on this planet, and to be able to do it in a way that helps you to get along with others, but also helps you to stand up for who you are yourself. I have been studying the Enneagram since about 2010. I first started taking coaching with a friend and colleague who uses the Enneagram as part of his coaching methodology. And the more I learned about the Enneagram, the more I wanted to know, because it was like when I discovered my personality type, it's like I was found out. And also it brought up all the things that I get annoyed and frustrated about in myself, but it also helped me to see the gift of being a particular type. And as I got to learn more, I discovered the Enneagram was way more than a personality tool. The Enneagram is really about learning to be present. And being present means to be conscious, aware in all of you. And we divide it often into our 3 centers of intelligence. So we have at least 3 brains, probably more than that. But we gain great wisdom and knowledge through the sensations of our body if we just pay attention. We gain wisdom through our emotions, and to learn the difference between what we really feel and what we think we should feel. The emotions are really about what are we yearning for on this earth? Who are we being called to work with? What kind of things are we meant to be doing on this planet? And then there's our mind. And one of the things that's important about our mind is learning to quiet it down, because the mind gets so busy that whatever you call your higher power, God, spirit, oneness, your better self, has a really hard time getting through. But when we can quiet our minds, suddenly we become open to things that we're not even aware of. Wisdom, knowledge, truth, love, that is there for us if we just pay attention. So I invite you through these series of videos. Today is going to be a simple, very brief overall introduction to the Enneagram, and then we'll get into each of the 9 types. And after that, there's lots of other things we're going to be to talk about. One of them, a big one, will be burnout. So it's learning to take care of ourselves, finding what we're meant to be doing. And please, if you have any questions, I invite you to email me, phone me, and I hope to be offering courses, which I'll be advertising through the Lifelong Learning Pathway at St. Andrew's College, and invite you to participate. And I hope you will gain something from this, whether this is for you or not, but this is another tool, another spiritual pathway to help us to be our best and to get the most out of life. So glad you're here. Hope to meet you in person or online. So why study the Enneagram? The Enneagram is there to help us to understand what makes us tick. For me, one of the things I wanted to know was, why was I anxious so often? Why was I so fearful and scared? And I discovered when I identified with type 6 energy, that's a risk for 6s. Doesn't mean we have to go there. It doesn't have to mean we have to stay there. It just means that 6s have a predilection to get anxious. And part of that comes from 6's fear that we have been disconnected from Source. We say we've been disconnected from God, we've been disconnected from Mother Earth, and we're kind of all alone. We've been abandoned, and that's very scary. But of course, 6s at our best are very courageous people. So the Enneagram helps us to see that no, we don't have to stay in fear and anxiety. We can move and find that courage that's deep down within us that is just ready to come out if we invite it. The Enneagram helps us to understand others and understand why certain people we get along better than others. When we visit certain people, they energize us and other people drain us. I used to wonder when I was doing lots of pastoral care visits as a minister, there's some people you would come away from and just feel so energized, and there's others you would just be absolutely exhausted. The Enneagram helps us when we get that to that place in life where we feel like something is missing, but we just don't know what that is. And then the Enneagram can help us to identify what that is. And then find the courage to try something new. Because I think that's often what holds us back. Just fear of trying anything new and fear of failure. So the Enneagram can help us to find the new things we need to be about, to help us know what we need to let go of and what new things we need to try, and then move on in life. As we go on this journey, we may ask ourselves a whole bunch of questions. Why aren't my relationships working? Maybe you can never seem to keep a relationship beyond 5 years, so you wonder why. Why am I single? Why do people seem to reject me? These are all questions we have. And the Enneagram helps us to understand from deep within ourselves where is our responsibility in it and how we can find answers to our questions. Why do we seem to misinterpret? Why do people seem to misinterpret what I say? No, I think what I said is very easy to understand, but for some others, they just don't get it. And it's not because they're silly or they're stupid. It's just that we're different and we see the world in different ways. The question I had is, why do I always feel so anxious? I know intellectually there's nothing to feel worried about, but I still feel anxious. And that question, why do I feel so overwhelmed sometimes? Again, there seems to be not always a lot of evidence. Sometimes there is. But I know getting overwhelmed doesn't help me. So the Enneagram helps to unmask what is really going on so we can find that inner peace. So we can find the courage to be ourselves. So we can find the courage to do what we need to be doing in our world today. Why do I struggle to date? The Enneagram, here is a picture of the Enneagram. I'm just going to move my face over here so it's out of the way there. The Enneagram is more than a psychology of personality types. The Enneagram invites you on a spiritual path, discovering your inner wisdom, the voice of the Spirit. And it helps you to find your core truth. And that is, you are more than your personality. So you see the picture here of the symbol of the Enneagram and the 9 different types around the circle. And then you see the inner lines, because this is an active representation of the Enneagram. It is a process, it's energy, it is spiritual energy that is constantly shifting and moving depending where we are. Are we stressed? Are we relaxed? Are we stuck in our ego? Or are we open to the 9 different types? Are we open to the 9 different lenses to experience the world? So the Enneagram, your type doesn't tell you for sure. It gives you a clue of who you are. But it just says this is how you are when you're under stress. And then it shows you where you can be when you get unstuck from your personality type. You get unstuck from your ego. And we come down to that big essential question. Who are we? And an answer to that question is essence that arises from your inner world. It's an individual spark of divine light. And this journey is this awesome process of discovering who that is. And that's not just one moment. This is a lifelong process of discovering who we are. Who does God want us to be? Who does that energy, that life energy that's greater than anything we can imagine, that we give different names to, that wants more for us, knows we're capable of doing more, and wants to be that spark that invites us into deeper relationship with this mystery of life. So the Enneagram helps us in a number of ways. It helps us to see our personality patterns and what gets in our way. It helps us as an entryway into spirituality. Why do I get along with this and not the other? The Enneagram helps us as an entryway into self-revelation. So when I use the word spirituality, spirituality is that essence, that power that connects us with everything. It connects us with our inner world, in ourselves. It connects us with God, or if you want to have another name for a power that is greater than you. It connects us with that mystery, that wisdom. And it's that wisdom and energy that connects us with all of life, all of animals, trees, plants, animate and inanimate. Connects us with the whole earth, the whole planets and galaxies that go on and on. It connects us to the very source of life. And that's the power of spirituality. As we go into that place of mystery and wonder, it becomes a place of discovering more and more about who we are. Helps us to see our strengths, our growing edges. Helps us to be our very, very best. That's what it's about. Our personality forms from infancy. Genes, in utero experience, and early life experience help to influence your personality. Now, we can't say what percentage or whatever, but they all have influence about your personality. And your personality is a small part of who you truly are. If you say you're a particular Enneagram type, that just tells a little bit about you. It just tells you what you tend to do when you get stressed out. It tends to tell you those automatic things we do without really realizing we're doing it. But when you use the Enneagram properly, it helps you to connect with all 9 personality types, all nine Enneagram types. And that would get the strength of all of them. And then we become this really powerful source of spiritual energy in this world by us being changed ourselves at a very deep level. We invite others to do the same in their own way, on their own path. So in our Enneagram types, under stress, we get struck in personality. And remember that you are limited to 1/9 of the wisdom, which is your type, when you're stuck in your personality. And to be your best, you need to get as healthy as you can in all 9 Enneagram types. So it's really important not just to study your own type, but it's to study all 9 types. And it's to get curious. So often by working on the area you're the least healthiest, can help you to get stronger in all 9 types. So it's really important to do this work. Like Enneagram is, if all it is just something to talk about at a party and guess what type somebody else is, then it's really a useless technique. But if you use the Enneagram to get deep down into who you really are and opening yourself to your 3 centers of intelligence, your body, your heart, your mind, opening yourself to the strength and blessings of all 9 Enneagram types, learning to be your very best in your particular type, you are going to do amazing things you never dreamt you were capable of doing, just because you had been so limited before. But now you see way more potential than you could ever dream. And you'll just, not saying life won't be easy, it will be still very challenging, but you'll somehow have a much better idea of what you need to be about on this planet. So one of the most important things about the Enneagram is to help you break free of your type. And that is a process. You will start to notice certain behaviors. And with practice, you'll get yourself in the act. And eventually you'll be able to catch yourself in the act even before it happens, and you'll be able to make a different choice. So breaking free your type is when you acknowledge you are stuck, and when you acknowledge you are stuck, the Enneagram can show you a path towards freedom. That's what it's all about, is finding your freedom. And then it takes practice, 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 practice. This is a long-term work. We take a few steps forward, then we take a few steps backward, and the process goes on and on. But over time, we just keep discovering more about ourselves. And we really pay attention. We'll notice when we are getting off kilter, when we're getting stuck in the old pattern, old way, when we're getting stuck in our personality. And then we'll remember, and we'll be able to eventually shift things before they happen and move into greater integration, or another way of saying a path towards healing, when we are at our best and we bring out the best in others. But again, this is lifelong work. It's not going to happen overnight. It takes time, lots of time, and lots of effort. And it's discovering different things to help you along the way. Because I said the Enneagram by itself is not enough. You need things that are going to help you to connect with your body. So you might want to do some sort of body work. Could be yoga. Could be Tai Chi. And the list goes on. Doing some exercise. Help you know that you've got muscles. Or your heart, your emotions. A lot of us have really a hard time identifying our emotions. And we often get confused from what we think we feel than actually what we feel. So what is this personality we talk about? Well, it kind of operates like a machine. It does not need our awareness. And the pattern is repeated over and over again until you start saying, whoa, and start deciding you are going to start to become aware of it. Then that's when the time is you can let go of personality. Now, there's nothing wrong with personality. We would be dead if we didn't have it. Or personality and ego are kind of the same thing. If you didn't have it, you'd be dead. But the big thing is to realize our personality is just a small part of who we are. And if that's all you have, you're very limited in your opportunities in life. Life is not going to be very fulfilling if we stay stuck there. Because I say it's like you got 1/9 of the wisdom. So you're going to miss a lot of stuff. And you do. The Enneagram helps us to free ourselves from anything that gets in the way of us being our true selves, our God self, our spirit selves, whatever you want to call that. So the Enneagram helps us to find ways through self-awareness. And self-awareness not just in your head, but self-awareness in your body, your sensations, your emotions of your heart. And then freeing our busy minds so it can be open to seeing things in new ways. So the Enneagram can show us how we abandon ourselves. The Enneagram can show us how to observe ourselves in action, as actually how we show up in life. And the Enneagram encourages us to use spiritual practices, all in order to help us find greater freedom, to find greater joy in life, and to find love. So the Enneagram can help us to let go of our inner critic, to observe when our inner critic is active, and then we can choose as to whether we want to pay attention. Usually that inner critic, that negative voice within us, intentionally just wants to keep you safe. But unfortunately, it tries to prevent you from trying anything new. So in learning how to see how we abandon ourselves, learning how to observe ourselves in action, in the moment, how others experience us, and through spiritual practices, we gain greater insights in how to be free. And we start to notice, when we practice this over and over, we start to notice how big a difference this can make. Let's talk briefly about the origin of the Enneagram. Where did the Enneagram come from? Well, it comes from ancient wisdom traditions and modern psychology. The history of the symbol dates back to about 2,500 years before Common Era. exact origin is unknown. The history of personality types dates back to the 4th century AD, roots in classical Greek thought, and comes from the Western tradition of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. The beginning of the modern Enneagram movement started with George Ivanovich Gurdjieff, who started the Seekers After Truth movement, SAT, and Gurdjieff's teaching. But he saw the Enneagram in a very different way than what most of us see it. It was not a personality thing in those days. But he developed all these different dances to help us transform into our true selves, into all the different qualities, the 9 qualities we needed to be able to thrive in this world, since to learn how to dance in this world, and to find the truth at a deep, very deep level in ourselves. And so Gurdjieff gave us that. Now we get into the symbols. So you start off with the circle that makes up the Enneagram symbol. The circle represents unity, wholeness, and oneness. It reminds us how every single thing in this world is connected. What affects one affects another. Law of 3 reminds us that we live in a non-dualistic world. Unfortunately, most of the time we live in a world of black and white, right and wrong, and we get stuck in feelings of hopelessness, thinking nothing will ever change in the way we would like. But the Law of 3 reminds us that there is often way more possibilities, way more solutions, way more ways of seeing and experiencing the world than we could ever imagine. So the Law of 3 says that when we do our work to be the best people we can be, when we keep our aware of the sensations of our body that give us great insights into what's going on in each moment of our life, when we pay attention to the emotions of our heart, really feeling not what we think are our emotions, but how we are actually feeling, will give us huge insights in how we can learn to live in greater harmony with ourselves and each other. It will show us a path to hope and reconciliation. And if we can learn to quiet our minds, then the Holy has a way to break through into our minds and our hearts and our bodies and help us to see solutions that we never could have seen before. So the Law of 3 reminds us that there's always hope, because something is waiting to be discovered. Something is waiting to be lived out that can really take a lot of pain out of the world, can really give the world hope and give us a path to a new and better way of life. And the Law of 7 is a hexad. And the Law of 7 simply says energy is constantly moving and shifting. Everything about us is constantly moving and moving and changing. And so in a day, everything in our lives, all the energy that makes who we are in our minds, our bodies, our emotions, are constantly shifting and changing. So that we're never stuck in one place. Again, that gives me hope, because there's always room for change. There's always room that things are going to shift in a better way. And when one shifts, it affects the whole group. So if you look on the whole picture of the Enneagram, one shifts, it causes other people to shift. Now, the origin of the Enneagram personality types starts with Oscar Achazo in the 1950s. And he brought in the 7 deadly sins, plus fear and deceit. So that's how we came up to 9 different types. And then more recently, Claudio Naranjo, who recently died, had a huge influence on the Enneagram of personality types. And it became an easier way for most people to understand this process of the Enneagram. Today, the Enneagram continues to be developed by Don Riso, Russ Hudson, and Gary, Jack Killen, Mario Sikora, Peter O'Hanra, Ginger Lapid-Bogda, Sarah McMahill, and myself, and many others who bring a depth to the Enneagram, each adding something deeper, a better understanding to help us to use it as best possible in this world, bringing transformation for all people hope in a world that is feeling kind of hopeless at the moment. So this is really important work that we need to be doing. So this is just the beginning. This is the first video in a number of videos. This is just an introduction. I will be giving each type, I will do a video for each type, and then at the end, just talking about more how you can use the Enneagram in your daily life. So you're welcome to check my website at www.relconsultants.com. If you have any questions, you can email me at rolandlegge@relconsultants.com. And I will be, watch out for new videos and workshops I will be authoring through the St. Andrews Lifelong Learning Pathway. And I'm really honored and excited to be part of this new program offered by St. Andrews College.